recently I've been reading Unit X and also Anthony King's book on AI and automation. And a lot of the sentiment in those books is around the handbrake, the frustration, the drag on procurement from a government setup that's perhaps, set in the dark ages, and trying to learn from Silicon Valley slash the tech world, certainly from a US perspective. But from what you're seeing in the UK, obviously we've had the defence spending review and so on recently. Are you seeing any signs of either a sort of a loosening of that grip or something to sort of emoliate the process and make it easier for you guys to do business in that context?
Uh, I think one of our advisors said something that always resonated with me. He said this about, I don't know, 8 or 9 years ago, in that large organizations and government departments are always quite slow to innovate. But that's not necessarily a bad thing, because if all organizations innovated at the speed that innovation or technology became available, there'd be so much redundancy, so much dislocation, you'd probably have rioting on the streets. So in some ways, I think, if every government department and every enterprise and defense embraced the full capabilities of AI, I'm not sure as a society we could deal with that speed of change. So I think the fact that we've had exceptionally capable AI for certainly the last 2 years, and we haven't had a massive increase in unemployment, that there has been a transition, I think from a society point of view is not necessarily a bad thing. From a business point of view, hugely frustrating. So, and I think if you take defense, under the Strategic Defence Review from last year, a lot of it sounded great in terms of need to speed up procurement, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, all great words. And lots of recognition that, defence is not about having the best technology now. It's the people who are going to win are those who can embrace the latest technology quickest. So, and if you look at how quick takes, adversary like China, how quick they adopt technology and take advantage of it, it's way beyond what we can do. And you look at what's happening in Ukraine. A piece of new technology comes out and they're experimenting, using it on the front line sometimes within hours. Whereas you look at how we're operating in government, in defence, it is, if you're lucky, it's months, and many cases it's years. And that, there is just friction all the way through the process. We don't have an innovation culture. We don't have the right culture within across government. It's getting better, but it's going from a very, very, very low base. And I think there isn't this, there used to be this, the comment in sort of defence that, you train hard so you fight easy. And yet, what we learn from Ukraine, it's the speed of innovation, the speed of procurement, the speed of decision making has to be rapid. It has to be real time, and that come out of Ukraine. That is not what's happening across Germany. What's happening across the UK or US? It's slowly improving. It is an oil tanker, but it's slowly getting a bit of momentum. But it's still way too slow. There's still too many people in the process. There's still too many people who can block it. There's still an appetite for risk which isn't where it should be. So people are scared to make decisions, defer decisions, they delay them, and those are decisions in themselves. So the benefit of that technology is lost because it just doesn't get through a process. So I think there's a lot of people at the top who really want to change it. There's a lot of people at the bottom in defence who really want to change it. And the problem is the kind of the frozen middle. There's just the bit where things actually happen. There isn't the urgency. There isn't the experience, the appetite, the mindset yet. It's getting better, but it needs to be way, way better than it is.
Do you think the wolf being at the door with the Greenland conversation and whatever else goes on in Ukraine may perhaps speed things along? Do you think that might be the prompt there? People start to make that kind of transition.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think two things. I say defense is moving faster than most enterprise customers and most government departments, because not just because of what's happening in Ukraine. War in Europe is a massive driver, but also the risk of the US. And
Yeah.
NATO, the European part of NATO, has relied massively on the US. As it's I don't think anyone doubts that Germany and places have basically freeloaded off US over US security, and I think Trump was absolutely right to call that out. But I think it's gone too far the other way, which is now, actually we can't rely on a critical partner right now, and that there is a massive push to for sovereign capability. But that's quite difficult to unwind. It's like trying to unwind the Chinese supply chain, trying to unwind from US tech.
Right.
Incredibly difficult, incredibly painful. And I think Europe is stuck between two things. It's got China on one hand and the US on the other, and
Yeah.
not sure who's a friend, who's an ally, who they can work with, and that for us as a business creates opportunity, which is great. But it's it's not great from a society point of view.
Sounds a lot like the analogy of trying to take the eggs out of a baked cake.
Indeed, well, indeed.
Excellent. Well, Paul, as always, absolute pleasure catching up with you in general, and certainly to hear your thoughts on what is a rapidly moving industry. Thanks very much for all your time on that, and look forward to working with you again as the year rolls out.
No, thanks, Daniel. Thanks, again for all your support, in not just in terms of the full C-suites that you've recruited for us, but generally of IO support over the years. It's been absolutely incredible, and we look forward to help us to continue to scale across the world. So yeah, no, thank you so much for all your support.